I am not the best painter on YouTube, nor will I ever be. I made the title and this video specifically to sort of have a social commentary on this idea of comparing yourself to people, comparing your career, comparing your jobs. For me, comparing myself and my viewership to other YouTubers, but also, you know, more specifically within fine arts. I have a lot to say about that, and we're gonna talk about it way more. I'm painting my grandma for her daughter, my aunt, for my aunt's 60th. It's really wonderful, really cool portrait. But I actually have these two packages, which has nothing to do with this video, but I thought it would be fun to open them. And they're both from YouTubers. Speaking of comparing myself to other YouTubers. Woo! Been waiting for this for so long. This is an amazing artist on YouTube, Chris Hong. It's called Tumble. It's a book of all her art, and oh my gosh, one of my guilty addictions is buying other people's merch or things they make. This was a Kickstarter, but specifically for YouTubers. So like, I love so many YouTubers, and if they put out merch or t-shirts or cool things like this, I always like can't not spend money. But just an absolutely amazing artist, and this project is really epic. Add to the collection. I collect art books, so this is super special. Another YouTuber, speaking of merch, this is Gawks. He collabed with New Balance, and wow, first of all, what an epic collaboration, but also I'm like the biggest fan of Gawks because he's just probably one of the best cinematographers on the internet, and he's an amazing artist. I think Gawks will be, mark my words, one of the biggest artists in the world. And this is just such a fire t-shirt. I'm gonna put it on. Just awesome, like so high quality, one of his awesome characters. Just like really nice detailed shirt. But I just love Gawks. Again, I can't not get this when I see that it's dropping. But if you don't know who Gawks or Chris Hong is, go to the YouTube channels, tell them SLEW sent you, amazing artist. But that kind of weirdly ties into this whole conversation, and we're gonna get into that. I have one more thing I got, and I'm gonna bring you over. So it's in the podcasting room already where it's gonna live, but it's my Cyclops. This was actually made for me by my cousin Mika. Shout out Mika. It's just amazing. My Cyclops character, you can see right here, but it's like a custom 300 play button reward. So just amazing, absolutely stunning. It's gonna live here, kind of where my sculpture garden is, I guess you could say, for eternity. Amazing, one of the most amazing gifts I was ever given. But let's keep talking about comparison, because it's a toxic cycle of thinking. Comparison is the death of joy, or the thief of joy, people say. Love that quote. I like death of joy better than thief. But I actually have to go to 10 minutes down into Brooklyn to hang with my friend to take photos, and I'm gonna ask him what he thinks because he's an artist as well. We're in Deed's studio here in Brooklyn. Look, he's even wearing the SLEW hoodie.
You already know, man.
But I'm making a video. We were just talking about comparing yourself, and so I wanted to ask you, do you ever get into the traps of comparison and get bogged down?
Oh,
as a weathered professional artist.
Who doesn't? Yeah, for sure.
Have any advice to someone who's dealing with that or goes through the roller coasters of
delete Instagram?
Yeah.
For me, that's what I do, which of course Instagram is like such a important tool for a artistic career, but that's what happens to me. I'll get on there and I'll be sucked in for 4 hours. It's subtle, it like creeps in after a couple hours, and I'm like, that person is killing it, that person's killing it. And I'm like, oh, that person's like younger than me, or like yada, yada, yada.
You have such a narrow window into people's lives now with social media that it's like impossible not to be like, I wish that was me, or I wish I was in that position, or my position isn't as good as this person's.
Yeah. I would also like to say, like, that is kind of human nature, I think.
Totally.
And that's like the artist's curse, you know, is comparing, and that's why we get good. You know, we're hard on ourselves.
I agree with you, but it's hard, man.
It's hard.
Even looking at this, look at this painting Dean just did. I'm like, God damn, Dean.
Thanks.
Whip that out.
I haven't revealed it yet, but this will probably come out after it's revealed. But.
Yeah, I'm inspired here more than anything.
Oh, well look, it's like, you're not the best artist on YouTube, but you're the slewest artist on YouTube. You know, no one is the best really. In the arts, it's like, you know, I'm the Deanest Dean. That's
the true way to look at it, and that's, you want to be the you-est artist. I love that.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, that's been on my mind. Maybe I've been dealing with it internally the past 2-3 weeks, maybe even now that I think of it, the turn of 2021 into 2022. I just remember, and I'm still in this mindset of just trying to focus on me and do the best artwork I can possibly do and the best YouTube videos. But speaking of that, let's switch to oil painting real quick and continue the conversation. You know, and sadly in this painting, my camera that was filming the palette stopped working, completely didn't get any of that data. And so we are just going to be painting with no wonderful color mixing, but that's fine. This is a portrait of my grandma. You can see this reference is actually not great. It's a great challenge. This painting was a great challenge to try to remember the anatomy of the face, how light works on the face, because if you zoom into this photo reference, you really cannot get a lot of detail out there. So, you know, blocking in values and color was kind of a struggle, and it was quite difficult. And that's a perfect segue to the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community with thousands of different classes ranging from all sorts of creative endeavors like photography, illustration, film, and much more. If you have a specific skill you're trying to learn, Skillshare is certainly the perfect place to start. You can find a class that matches your goals and interests at all different levels. An awesome class that relates to what we're doing today by Gabriel Piccolo, character illustration. It's a wonderful class taking you through how to draw different faces, features of the face, coloring techniques, all within this cool illustrative style. Skillshare is really the best. It has the best website, user interface. Each class is filled with amazing assignments and discussion boards with other members. It's really great. So the first 1,000 people to use the link in my description or use my code SLEW will get a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring the video. I don't know, I guess this idea of comparison has been on my mind recently. I actually think for the most part of my life, I do a very good job of not comparing. You know, like growing up, I didn't finish college. I was never comparing myself with people who graduated, got great jobs and made a bunch of money. You know, I always just did what I liked, which was art and YouTube. And, you know, I think a lot of people balance this idea, and I usually balance it well, but for some reason these past couple weeks, it's been on my mind, and it's just natural. I think, again, it's not something to never do. It's important to have your eye out there, but, you know, a catalyst of social media, if you're just constantly looking at other people who are bigger, better, more successful, it will happen eventually. And I guess maybe, you know, it's just been on my mind, but it's a good idea. And this is just one giant vent session for me, but it happens to me. If you're wondering if you're going through similar things, or even if, you know, this toxic trait of comparison is preventing you from starting some cool project or starting some cool hobby. You know, I think like Dean said, and it's great advice, you just need to be the best you can be and just focus on your own stuff. Stay in your lane, man. Just do you. And I think the painting turned out pretty darn well, considering the reference. It was like a lot of improvisation and sort of trying to test my knowledge and memory of the features of the face. But you could also see this beautiful frame I got to frame this painting 11 by 14 inches so that when my aunt gets it, it looks nice and pretty. And I think that looks real nice. It will just be a great memory on the wall, and it's shipped with all this wonderful stuff, so I can ship it perfectly back. With the painting installed, it's pretty great. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Write in the comments if you've dealt with this comparison sort of dilemma, and let me know. I'd love to hear what other people think, if they've dealt with things where they have strategies to deal with comparing yourself. Again, I think it's natural. I wouldn't be too hard on yourself. I'm not too hard on myself, but when it boils over and affects me and affects my work, it gets interesting. So I thought it would be a fun video topic with an awesome little painting.